The air in the observation gallery was cold and smelled of ozone and alien musk. Leo Cruz stood at parade rest, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. His dark blue uniform was stiff and unfamiliar. To his side, Ambassador Eva Rostova spoke in low, urgent tones with a tall, bird-like alien. Its feathers shimmered under the bright lights of the galactic conclave. Leo's eyes scanned the vast chamber. It was a forest of strange shapes and colors. He saw insectoid diplomats with clicking mandibles and massive, slow-moving rock creatures. None of them looked at the two humans with anything but pity or contempt. Eva returned to his side, her face a calm mask, but Leo saw the tension in her jaw. "They are not listening," she said quietly. "They think we are offering them sticks and stones." The main session began. The leader of the conclave, Vorian, stood on a high platform. His Zelnari form was elegant and severe. "The hegemony threat is existential," his translated voice echoed. "Only unified, advanced fleets can oppose them. We must allocate resources to those who can truly contribute." Eva stepped forward. "The Terran Republic offers its full military support. Our soldiers are ready. Our ships are waiting." A wave of soft, chittering laughter moved through the crowd. Vorian's large, dark eyes fixed on her. "Your soldiers are brave, but bravery is not enough. Your ships are a generation behind. You would be swatted from the void. We cannot risk our battle lines on sentiment." He paused, his gaze sweeping over Leo. "You have no place in this war. Therefore, you have no place at this table." The dismissal was absolute. It was a public execution of their hopes. Leo did not move. He did not flinch. He had heard worse. He focused on the cold metal floor beneath his boots. Then the air changed. A sharp, piercing alarm cut through the chamber. Holoscreens flickered to life, showing a star map. A red tendril of enemy contacts had slipped past the conclave's core defenses. It was moving fast. A new voice, mechanical and urgent, filled the room. "Priority alert. Cathar Splinter Fleet detected. Vector confirmed. They are on a direct course for the Sierra 3 system." Leo's blood went cold. Sierra 3. A green world. 2 billion people. Mostly farmers. Their planetary defense force was a joke. A militia with outdated guns. On the screen, a visual of Sierra 3 appeared. A beautiful blue-green marble. Vorian spoke, his voice devoid of emotion. "A tragic loss, but the system is of low strategic value. We cannot redeploy in time. We must consolidate our forces here. Low strategic value. 2 billion lives." Leo turned his head slowly. He looked at Eva. Her calm mask was gone. Raw horror was etched on her face. She looked back at him, her eyes asking a silent, desperate question. Leo's own face was a stone. Inside, a fire ignited. He leaned close to her, his voice a low, hard whisper that only she could hear. "They left us no choice," he said. "Initiate Prometheus." Eva Rostova stared at him for one long second. The fate of their world hung in the balance. Then she gave a single, grim nod. Her hand moved to a small, unremarkable device on her wrist. Her thumb pressed a hidden button. Across the galaxy, on a derelict station orbiting a dead star, a light that had been dark for a decade flickered once, then glowed a steady, angry red. The sky over Sierra 3 turned black. Not with clouds, but with ships. Cathar, drop pods fell like burning rain. On the ground, people ran. The air shook with the deep thud of impacts. In the capital city's defense center, a young militia captain named Ben Shaw watched his screens. Red enemy icons swarmed the map. "They're breaking through the outer districts," he said, his voice tight. "We can't stop them." Explosions flashed in the distance. The building trembled. High above the planet, the Conclave's observation fleet watched. On the bridge of their flagship, Vorian observed the data stream. "The colony will fall in less than an hour," he stated. It was a simple fact. He felt no pleasure, only cold efficiency. Then, every alarm on the bridge shrieked at once. A sensor officer jerked back from his screen. "Massive energy spike, reading off the scale. It's right in the middle of the battle zone." Space itself tore open. It was not a clean jump. It was a violent rip, a wound in reality. Light and color bled out from a swirling hole. From this rift, a single ship pushed through. It was not like the smooth organic shapes of the Cathar or the elegant designs of the Conclave. This ship was all sharp angles and flat planes. It was the color of old iron, and it seemed to drink the light around it. It had no visible engines, no windows. It was a weapon and nothing else. Its identification code flashed on the Conclave's screens. HWS Vengeance. On the ground, Ben Shaw saw the new contact. "What is that?" he whispered. No one answered. The Cathar fleet ignored the newcomer. Their target was the planet below. They moved to begin their main bombardment. The Vengeance did not move. It hung in the void, silent and still. Then a low hum began. It was not a sound you heard with your ears. It was a vibration you felt in your bones. A single, powerful pulse of energy erupted from the black ship. The effect was instant. Every Cathar ship in near orbit simply stopped. Their engine glows died. Their weapon ports went dark. They drifted, powerless, like toys floating in water. Silence fell over the battle. On the Conclave flagship, Vorian stood up. "What did it do?" "Report." "We don't know. Some kind of system-wide dampening field. It shut them down completely." Then the Vengeance acted again. A section of its hull glowed with a dark purple light. A beam lanced out. It was not a laser. It was a thread of pure gravity. It struck the lead Cathar cruiser. The alien ship did not explode. It collapsed. The middle of the ship crumpled inwards like a crushed can. In less than a second, the entire massive warship was compressed into a tiny, brilliant point of light. Then the point winked out. Nothing remained. The Vengeance moved its dark hull. It did not target the other frozen Cathar ships. Instead, it turned slowly. Its blunt, weapon-filled prow rotated through the void. On the Conclave flagship, the tactical officer's voice was a strangled gasp. "Sir, the human vessel. It's locking its weapons on us." The bridge of the Conclave flagship erupted into chaos. Officers shouted, their alien voices overlapping in panic. Red warning lights flashed across the control panels. The massive human warship filled the main view screen, its weapon ports glowing with a deadly light. Vorian slammed a three-fingered hand on his command chair. "Shields to maximum. All batteries target that ship. They have gone rogue." On the Vengeance, it was silent. The only light came from the main console and the star-filled screen. Leo Cruz sat in the command chair, but he was not truly in it. A complex neural interface snaked from the chair into a port at the base of his skull. His eyes were open, but they saw data streams and energy readings, not the room. His face was pale and slick with sweat. A thin line of blood ran from his left nostril down to his chin. Every time the gravity weapon fired, a shock went through his body. It was like being hit from the inside. A calm, synthetic voice spoke in his mind. It was the ship's AI. Warning: singularity containment at 87%. Space-time integrity in the local area is degrading. Continued use risks a catastrophic rift event. Leo ignored it. His focus was absolute. On his mental display, the remaining frozen Cathar ships were highlighted. One by one, he targeted them. The Vengeance fired again. Another enemy cruiser twisted and vanished, sucked into nothingness. "Leo, your vital signs are declining," the AI stated. "Neural stress is approaching critical levels." "Just keep me together," Leo grunted, his voice a raw scrape in his throat. He saw the faces of the people on Sierra 3. He saw the cold eyes of the Conclave. He would not stop. With each ship he erased, a piece of him felt like it was erased too. Memories flickered at the edge of his consciousness. The faces of friends lost in earlier, smaller battles the Conclave had ignored. This was why they had built Prometheus. Not for conquest, for survival. He destroyed the last of the Splinter Fleet. The space around Sierra 3 was clear. For a moment, there was only the planet and the strange black ship. On the ground, Ben Shaw watched the sky. The enemy was gone. A ragged cheer went up in the command center. They were saved. The cheer died in Ben's throat as he looked at the main sensor screen. A new shadow was falling over the planet. It was a shadow the size of a continent. A new tear in reality opened, far larger than the first. Through it came the true Cathar fleet. Dozens of hive ships, each one larger than a city. They were a wall of organic metal and pulsating light. They blotted out the stars. On the Conclave flagship, the sensor readings went wild. "It's the main hegemony force. They are here." The lead hive ship did not head for the planet. It did not even look at the Conclave fleet. Its entire front section, a massive, fleshy opening, oriented itself. It pointed directly at the small dark shape of the human vessel. Every weapon on the hive ship began to glow with a sickly green energy. It was power enough to crack a planet open, and it was all aimed at one target. Leo Cruz watched the monster ship fill his view screen. The AI's voice was flat. "Target lock detected. Incoming fire will be unavoidable. We cannot survive this." Leo took a slow, painful breath. He had one move left. It was a move he had hoped never to make. He pushed his mind deeper into the interface. The ship's core responded, its power building to a scream. He was going to fly the vengeance right down their throats. But before he could move, the hive ship fired. It was not a laser or a missile. It was a beam of pure, screaming thought. It hit the vengeance, and the ship's shields did nothing. The attack passed straight through the metal and systems. It went directly into Leo's mind. The alien thought was a hammer blow to his skull. It was not a language. It was a wave of cold hunger, a need to consume and absorb. Leo screamed. The sound was lost in the silent assault. Images flooded his mind. Worlds stripped bare. Billions of minds extinguished. Their energy added to the hive. The Cathar were not just killing. They were eating. They were a psychic predator, and they had just found a new, powerful meal. On the bridge of the Conclave flagship, Vorian watched the data. The human ship is not moving. Its power levels are fluctuating wildly. The Cathar are using a consciousness assault. It is a fate worse than death. He turned to his second-in-command, a grim-faced insectoid. "The human weapon is compromised. It will either be destroyed or turned against us. Our stealth fleet is in position. Their orders are to secure the wreckage of the Vengeance after the Cathar finish it. We must have that technology." Back in the Conclave chamber, Eva Rostova saw the live feed. She saw the stealth fleet's icons appear on the edge of the star map, hiding behind moons and sensor ghosts. She understood immediately. Her face went white with fury. She marched to Vorian's empty podium and activated a general broadcast. "Vorian, you coward!" Her voice echoed through the silent, shocked chamber. "You call them a mindless swarm? You are wrong. They are a hive mind. They feed on thought. Your advanced technology is just a richer meal for them. Your strategy is why you are losing this war. That man in that ship is the only one fighting them on their own terms." Meanwhile, inside the storm of his own mind, Leo was drowning. The hive mind was vast, an ocean of cold intellect. It tried to crush his sense of self, to absorb his memories and his will. It looked for his fears, his weaknesses. It found his deepest memory, a Cathar raid on a remote outpost, the screams of his squad, the smell of burning, his failure to save them. The hive mind pressed on this wound, trying to break him with his own guilt. But it did not understand. That memory was not his weakness. It was his fuel. The guilt and the loss had forged him. They were the reason he had volunteered for Prometheus, the reason he sat in this chair. He did not try to hide the pain. He embraced it. He gathered every raw human emotion, the grief for his friends, the love for his home, the fierce, stubborn hope for a future, and he pushed back. He did not send a complex thought. He sent a feeling, a single, clear image of a human child laughing under a yellow sun, the concept of an individual, precious life. The hive mind recoiled. The simple, illogical beauty of it was a poison. The psychic scream that had been crushing Leo faltered. In that moment of confusion, Leo acted. His body was shaking, his vision blurred. He routed all remaining power to the engines. He would fly the Vengeance into the heart of the hive ship and detonate its core. It was the only way. The black ship's engines flared to life. It began to move, a final, desperate charge. That was when the Conclave's stealth fleet decloaked. They did not fire on the Cathar. Their weapons flashed, striking the Vengeance from behind. Bright bolts of plasma tore into the ship's rear. The Vengeance shuddered violently. Alerts blared in Leo's mind. Engine 1, destroyed. Engine 2, critical. Main thrusters offline. The ship lurched to a dead stop. It was crippled, trapped between the massive hive ship and its treacherous allies. The charge was over. Leo struggled to raise his head. He looked at the main screen. The fleshy maw of the hive ship was opening again. This time, it did not glow with energy. It began to pull. A tractor beam, impossibly strong, gripped the helpless Vengeance. The ship groaned, its metal skeleton straining. It was being dragged in. The view screen showed the interior of the hive ship. It was not a hangar. It was the organic, pulsing cavern, lined with glowing, nerve-like filaments. The Vengeance was being pulled into the belly of the beast. The Vengeance was swallowed whole. The organic airlock sealed behind it with a wet, final sound. Leo's ship was held fast by sticky, pulsating tendrils inside a vast chamber. The air was thick and warm. Strange lights pulsed along the walls. He was inside the enemy. Outside, the Conclave stealth fleet held its position. They watched, waiting to scavenge the remains. On the flagship, Vorian allowed himself a moment of cold satisfaction. The human problem was solving itself. But inside the hive ship, the real battle began. The psychic pressure returned, stronger than before. It was no longer an attack. It was a digestion. The hive mind began to methodically tear apart Leo's thoughts, seeking the secret of the gravity weapon. Leo felt his memories being ripped away. His childhood, his training, the faces of his family. He fought to hold on, but he was one man against a billion minds. He was losing. Then he remembered Eva's words, broadcast to the whole conclave. They feed on thought. A desperate, insane idea formed in his crumbling mind. If they wanted to consume him, he would give them a meal. He stopped fighting. He stopped trying to protect his memories. Instead, he opened the floodgates. He did not give them weapon schematics or battle plans. He gave them humanity. He gave them the feeling of warm sun on skin, the taste of cold water on a hot day, the sound of rain on a roof, the crushing weight of grief at a graveside, the dizzying joy of a first kiss, the stubborn, illogical hope that made people rebuild after every disaster. He poured every raw, messy, beautiful human emotion into the hive mind. The effect was instantaneous and catastrophic. The hive mind, a creature of pure, cold logic, could not process it. The emotions were a virus. They were chaos. The single, unified will began to fracture. Conflicting feelings, love, hate, joy, despair, raged through its collective consciousness. It was like a brain having 1,000 seizures at once. The hive ship around the Vengeance convulsed. The glowing lights flickered wildly. The tendrils holding the ship loosened their grip. On the conclave sensors, the massive Cathar fleet began to behave erratically. Ships drifted into each other. Some fired their weapons at nothing. Seeing this, the Tarkellan warlord, Gorok, on his own heavy cruiser, made a decision. He had heard Eva's transmission. He had seen the humans' courage. He saw the Conclave's betrayal. He opened a channel to all nearby ships. "I have fought for the Conclave for 100 cycles," his guttural voice roared. "I have seen only cowardice and pride. Today, I saw honor. It came from the species they denied a seat. Today, we stand with the Ghost." His ship and a dozen others from lesser species broke from the formation. They turned their guns on the treacherous Conclave stealth fleet. A new, chaotic battle erupted. Inside the dying hive ship, Leo Cruz had one last command to give. His body was broken. His mind was almost gone. With his final conscious thought, he rerouted all the Vengeance's remaining power, not to the weapons, not to the engines, to the rift generator. The Vengeance did not explode. It collapsed. The space around it folded inward. The ship, and the entire Cathar hive ship that contained it, were crushed into a perfect, tiny point of absolute black. Then the point vanished. The silence was sudden and absolute. The remaining Cathar ships, severed from their hive mind, drifted harmlessly. The battle was over. On every screen, in every ship, a final data packet appeared. It was the last broadcast from the Vengeance. It contained no words of victory, no demands. There were only the simple star coordinates of Earth, and a single, looping audio file. It was the slow, steady, and unyielding sound of a human heartbeat.